So today, a lot of your classes that you are being taught today are teaching you a lot about the mechanics of writing, right? There's a lot of like character classes and voice classes and dialogue classes. I'm hoping to focus today on more of your habits of writing, how you write, and what kind of things you can improve on to make you a really good writer. So I want you to think as we go through these things, are there some things that we talk about that you're really, really good at? Oh, someone's texting me. There are other things, I might need you to find Jen. There are some other things that maybe you'll say, you know what, that's something I can really improve on, and maybe if I focus on that point, maybe my writing will get better. So, first habit we're going to talk about. A great writer observes. Raise your hand if you think you're good at this. Do you know what's super awesome? We are writers, so I don't want to stand with this. I want to hold this. We're writers, so that means that we get to stare at people, and we get to sit a little close, and we get to eavesdrop on their conversations. Who does that? We totally do that, huh? And it's totally cool, and it's okay. And we get to watch them, and we get to think about them. My other caterer is here. Okay, Jen's in charge. Okay, so first you got to observe the characters that are around you. If you are going to want to write realistic characters, where do you find them? Where do you find realistic characters? All around you. You find them here, right? So if you want realistic characters, realistic dialogue, realistic emotion, realistic romance, observe the characters that are around you. Watch the way that people act. So let's say that there are two girls that are in a fight. And that is not my children, but it could very well be my children because this is like an every hour kind of a thing that happens at my house. So watch the way maybe they're arguing. How does someone react when someone says something mean to them? Does that certain person cower? Do they fight back? Pay attention to the way that they're acting. Go away. So when you are observing, keep in mind the characteristics of characters that you already have in your head. So let's think that there's a kid at school, his name is Kevin, and he's very shy. And you know that in your book you have a troll named Gargamosh, and he's very shy. So if you kind of pay attention to Kevin, maybe that could help you craft your troll character a little bit better. What does Kevin do in the halls? Does Kevin kind of cower on the edge of the hallway as he walks? What does he do in the lunch line? Does he just kind of wait and let people push him by? What does he do when people talk to him? Does his face go flush? All of those things are going to help you write your characters. Pay attention to interesting people. That's cool. So if you're around someone that's just, maybe they're bold or brazen, maybe they're super cool and have awesome pink hair. That's you, my friend. Maybe they stutter. Maybe there's just something about them that's kind of unique, kind of interesting. Somebody that maybe other people are paying a lot of attention to. Watch them. Think about their characteristics, and those things will help you craft your story. Okay, we're going to observe the places around us. Do we do that? Are we good at that? I'm the biggest dork about that. We are all writers, which means that we have a fantastic imagination, right? I wanted to include a picture, but I couldn't find it. There's this place at Pacing Canyon where my husband and I used to ride horses a lot, and you'd go up the trail, and then you turn off, and it turns into this forest that had like these tree trunks that were just all uniform and dark, and the branches started really high, and the grass was this bright, bright green grass that looked like it'd been manicured. And I could never, ever admit this to my husband because he would like know how nerdy I was. But every time we went there, and that's always where I requested to ride, I could just imagine like a troop of barbarians capturing their fairies through the woods. And I actually like used that setting in one of my books. So he's always like, why are we going here again? I'm like, shh, I just need to take some pictures. So Yeah, when maybe you're lost in an unfamiliar town and it's kind of scary and it's late at night and it's a sketch place and cars are whizzing by and there's a group of men playing cards on an overturned trash can in an alleyway. This happened to me. Think about it. Remember it. Remember how you feel. Remember the things that you thought. Remember what it smelled like. What did it look like? And maybe one day you're going to need to kill someone. And you need to find a good place to kill someone. And that might be a really good place to kill somebody. In your book. We are writers, so we get to do that in our books. All right. Take pictures. We're all cool, most of us. You probably have access to a phone or a camera. Take pictures all the time. Even if you're somewhere, maybe it's just a cool park. Maybe you're at the mall. Maybe you just find yourself on a street that has a really cool storefront. Take pictures of it. Keep a notebook handy. Who does this? Do you guys find yourself always being like, hold on, Mom, I need to write this down. Okay, keep driving. Keep a notebook handy. These things are either going to help you craft the story you're currently writing, or you're going to create this catalog of places, a catalog of characters that when you go sit down to write, you're going to be able to draw from. Okay, number 2. An awesome writer reads. Is that awesome? Guess what's so cool? Because you guys are writers, you have to read. You have to. I'm sorry. It's kind of like if you were like a blogger that was paid to review ice cream, you have to eat ice cream. It just is part of the job. Who loves to read? And you have to. It's part of your job. So when you read, you get to, we're not going to read because we want to like copycat. Let's see. Oh, I forgot my gift. I didn't know you could read. Okay, sorry, I got to backtrack here. There are only 2 ways for artists to improve their craft: practice and study the work of other artists. For writers, that means you improve your writing by reading, writing, and reading, which I love that. And you think about that, an actual artist that's painting on canvas, they're going to go learn from other artists, right? Ooh, feedback. They're going to go to art galleries. They're going to go look at other art and study it. That's what you have to do. You have to read to figure out the craft. So you can read books in the same genre that you are currently writing in. Now this isn't because we're going to copycat, because when you get far enough along in the publishing world, they get really sick of the same thing and the same thing and the same thing, and they're always looking for new things. So we're not reading these books because we want to copycat, but we're reading them because they're going to give us great ideas. They maybe are going to show us what has been done so much that we're going to do a twist on it. We're going to do something new. They're going to give you some new concepts. You're also going to read books totally out of the genre that you're writing. And this is a tip for you. If you find yourself kind of stuck in a rut, maybe writing the same stuff, reading the same stuff all the time, and you're having a hard time generating new ideas, go pick up a completely different book than you would ever pick up. Like go to that section of the library that you usually avoid and grab a brand new book. And while we're reading, we need to pay attention to the way the author's doing their work. Maybe take notes. Keep that notebook with you. Write down the points or the things that they did that struck you. How did they describe something that you just loved? If there's a character that you're loving and the way that they're weaving that character, write it down. Make a note of that. And all of these things are going to help you improve your craft. All right. A cool writer researches. Boo. Sometimes, who loves research? Oh, you guys are cute. We got a this. I don't. I actually will try to craft my stories specifically so I don't have to research, but I always have to. It's just part of what I've discovered is true. You have to do some research if you're going to have any kind of a credibility as an author. Even if your book is based in any form of reality at all, there has to be a little research. Like, you have to know that if your characters live in Utah and they need to go to Mexico, that they're going to go south. Because if you write like, we go east, you're going to sound really dumb. If your book is historically based at all or based on any kind of something that actually happened, you've got to do some really good research. Or again, you're going to try to publish this book and your publisher or anybody's going to go, you don't know anything you're talking about. And your credibility is going to go like this. But, and I can see it in your eyes because I do this, my book is based in fantasy. I created this world all by myself. There is nothing about this that is real, so I don't have to do any research. And you could be true, but your book will be better if you do some research. If you do a lot of good research about swords and you become an expert about swords, the swords that you create of your own making in your book are going to be that much credible, that much better. So we can do research in a lot of ways. Dun, dun, dun. You guys, we're like the luckiest people ever because we've got Google, and you can find anything on Google, right? Let's see. That was my Google. What was it like in the 1920s? Because my current book that I'm working on is set in the 1920s. Tons of stuff. But, there's actually kind of a little author joke that, like, if the FBI ever got a hold of our computers, we'd be in really big trouble. Because we search things like how to tie someone's hands behind their backs. Or how to break out of handcuffs. I've Googled these things. But they might just think that we're really, really weird. Like we're Googling things like, what powers do fallen angels have? Google has a lot of answers for you on that. They really do. Or how to tell if somebody is a zombie. We've got a lot. Oh, I didn't know that. It doesn't say it on Google. Incredible. All right, so we are going to also take advantage of people who have already done the research. We're going to read books or watch movies like yours. Again, haha, lucky us. My book, currently, like I said, is set in 1920s in Montana, and it's based around a silver mine. And I didn't want to do that research. That sounds super boring. So I picked up a book that was set in the 1920s, not in Montana, but in a mining town. And I read the book. And I kept a notebook, and I wrote down things like, oh, they did have electricity back then, good to know. And, oh, women wore these types of boots. Okay. That's some of my mining pictures that I got in the spectacular mine. And look, those men are so attractive. Okay, National Geographic. This is a wonderful website for you. If you have any history, cultural, animals, if you're building a world based in the jungle, go to National Geographic, watch some TV shows, about the jungle. History Channel, I hope somebody's writing about Vikings, because there's a really cool series about Vikings. I know, huh? It's really cool, and it's fun, and you learn a lot, too. So research doesn't have to be like boring encyclopedia, let me write down facts. There's a lot of fun ways to do some good research. Okay. This is the fun one. A rad author finds inspiration. And I think I feel pretty safe to say that we're all really good at this. Who feels like this is something that you're good at? I feel like I find my inspiration all the time. All the time I told my husband, I have an idea for a new book. He's like, okay, catalog it with the other 30. So, you've got to be inspired. We've got to think of new ideas. We've got to seek out things that inspire you if we get in a rut. Reading. Are you sick of that yet? If you read, you're going to find lots of inspiration. Constantly reading is constantly inspiring you. Watching movies, or my very favorite is movie trailers. I am the type of person that you have to get me to the movie theater in time to see the movie trailers, or I'm ornery. And if I'm ornery, then you have to buy me a Dr. Pepper. My husband knows this. So movie trailers are the best because they cut the scenes together in this intense, awesome way, and then there's swelling music that's at appropriate times, and you walk away. Every time I walk away from movie trailers, I'm like, I want to write my book. Let's leave right now with my Dr. Pepper. I found Moviefone. Who knows Moviefone? It's way cool. You can search movie trailers by genre, and this is a great thing. If you're looking for a new idea, new inspiration, or if you're just seeking out, that inspiration you need to kind of work on the current project you're on, go to Moviefone and seek out your genre. If you're writing fantasy, seek out fantasy. If you're writing, even if the next scene is an action-based scene, no matter the genre it's in, seek out action. And just spend 20 minutes and just watch a couple movie trailers, and you are going to hit the ground running. You're going to be so ready to write. Listening to great music. I want to know, who loves to listen to music while you write?
Heck yeah.
Hoo-ha. All right. Who has to have it completely silent while you write? Silent. That's me. Listening to music is awesome. It's a great way. Again, movie scores. Who does this? Anybody do this? Movie scores, huh? Movie scores are so great because you can go, oh, the next scene is a really sad scene, so I'm going to pull this movie score for the dying scene, movie score for that. And we're going to listen to the dying soundtrack a couple times, and then I'm going to be really ready to write it. And then please listen to like a happy movie score, like when the guy gets the girl, so that you can walk away from your writing not depressed. That would be good. Pinterest. I was interested to see, guys, who uses Pinterest? Boys? Okay. Haha, I love you. Pinterest is awesome. Pinterest, I think sometimes we think that Pinterest is like for moms and girls and recipes. Pinterest is not. Pinterest is a really cool website, Taylor, that you can organize all of your pins, all of your pictures, all of your websites that you want to go to. Look at this. You can create a pin board for the type of characters that you're writing. So you can have an entire pin board about fairies. And you can Google fairies and you can pin fairies. And don't like pin fairies. It's not like you're pinning butterflies on the styrofoam thing. And you can have an entire pin board about fairies. And each one of these things takes, I should point here, these things takes you to a website that either has information that you can continue on. You can go or have a pin board for maybe the type of world that you're creating. If your book takes place in some ice world, a whole pin board like this, you're going to be ready to just write those scenes and describe those settings. This is my pin board because my one book takes place in the jungle. So I have a whole pin board just for jungle scenes. Castles. Whole pin board for castles if you've got like a fairy tale land and there's castles. What about weapons? Pinterest is not just for girly stuff. You can find tons of stuff on Pinterest. Have a whole pin board just for your weapons. All right. He's going to do that all day. All right. How about your characters? You can find a pin board and create a pin board that helps you be inspired for just one certain character. So Pinterest is awesome. I'm promoting it. They're paying me. Okay. A killer writer lives a life. Okay, hold on, pause. We're going to go back because I forgot. I wanted to hear from you guys. You guys ready to talk for a second? Back to inspiration. I want to know, beyond what I talked about, kind of my main points that I hit, what are some things that you guys do that help you find inspiration for your novels, new ideas, or current projects? Right here. Awesome. So she said she goes on trips and she finds cool towns and looks at new settings. So, because sometimes we get like in our little rut, in our little neighborhood. So to go somewhere else, we'll take a couple more. Paradoxes. So her grandma found some cool stuff for her to learn about, which is awesome. Maybe talking, that's a great, see, brand new point. That's a great thing. Maybe talking to somebody else who has a brand new perspective. Old people. Cool. Right here.
My brothers.
Your brothers, they help you find inspiration?
They just fight.
Haha, and they're really good to help you fight. All right, in the back, in the pink. Awesome. So when you're in the car and you're driving and it's probably boring, you look out the window and you kind of look at the settings and kind of imagine some things. In the corner, because I'm sad that you don't get a table. You're on the floor. Cool. So some random searches on Google. Please be careful. All right, right here. Nice. Get out in nature, get out of your bedroom, go somewhere. We're starting to hit my next point a little bit. We'll do two more. Right here. Dreams. Dreams are awesome. I think we can probably mention several authors who have said, yeah, I had this dream, and so I wrote a book. Great. Sorry, one more boy. Right there. Yep, you. Oh, fun. So find some writing prompts and try to be creative with them. Okay, awesome. We're going to move on. Killer writer lives a life. Now, I know sometimes writing can be this very isolated, solitary experience, and I know there's a stereotype, we're not all in it, but there's a stereotype that writers can often be very introverted. But if you really want to put a really good edge on your writing, you got to get out of your bedroom. I'm sorry. You got to go do some cool stuff. This is my favorite one because A, I love it, and because sometimes I procrastinate my writing by doing cool things. So my first book starts out in the Black Hills of South Dakota, kind of by Mount Rushmore, in the hills behind Mount Rushmore. It's amazing. And I researched it. I first found it from watching Man vs. Wild? Bear Grylls? Is that Man vs. Wild? Yep. Yeah. I watched him go through the Black Hills, and I thought, that's where my book has to be. It has to be. So I watched that, and then I researched the Black Hills like crazy. I had a pinboard. I have a whole file of photos. And then one day I said, you know what? I'm going. And so me and my sister got in the car and drove for 16 hours to South Dakota. And random. And we spent 3 days in the weirdest little town called Custer. And we explored Custer. Has anybody been there? It's so cool. You lived there? No. Oh, you've been there. It's so cool. I am in love with Custer, South Dakota, the most weirdest little town in the whole place. And I spent 3 days there, and we just toured and toured. And there is these rock formations. And I based this spot in my book, it's this rock formation that's kind of the entrance to my mythical world, on a rock formation in my book. And I went there. It was like the greatest day of my life. Like, the exuberance on my face is so not faked. I actually was going to put you a series because my sister-in-law just took pictures of me, like, freaking out. I didn't. That's embarrassing. So that was super cool. And when I was there, I took notes like crazy. When I came back, oh my gosh, I had to just sit and just write and write and write because all of my scenes that took place in this area were so much cooler. In my book, they rock climb a lot, and we tried to go rock climbing on this trip, but the fog rolled in and they wouldn't let us go. But so I went rock climbing elsewhere and spent some time rock climbing and learned to rock climb a little bit. Mostly had a guy that said, hold on tight. I tied it on right. Okay, I'm gonna go down. Jen Jenkins, part of Writers Group, her book takes place in Manarola, Italy. So we went. That's actually in November. That's me and Jen and Lois, and that is the shores that her character swims in. Now, I know, like, if your book takes place in Italy, it's really hard to get to Italy, and that was a pretty cool thing that we got to do. But you gotta ask yourself, are there things that my character does that I'm unfamiliar with? Does your character ride horses? Go ride a horse. I have a horse, you can come ride my horse. Does your character go and rock out at loud concerts? Then go to a concert. Ask your mom first. Do your characters eat like really weird food? Then go try something similar. Go try to experience some of the things that you're writing about. Are there settings in my book that I'm unfamiliar with? If your book takes place in nature, then get out of your room and go on a hike. Go up in the hills, go to the park, go for a little drive if you can drive. Go out in nature and experience some of it. Does it take place on the beach? Go there if you can go there. Make that work. Some things are hard, like, if your character lives in like a magical underwater world, I don't know, go to the pool. But try to experience as much as you can. Doing this is better than any research that you can do. You're gonna sit forever and you're gonna research what it's like to ride a horse. But when you actually ride a horse, you're gonna know so much more. You're gonna know that it feels kind of awkward in the saddle and that my butt is really sore now and that the horse shakes and it like vibrates my whole body and I was totally freaked out and it stunk and the horse jumped over a stream and I lurched forward and all of those things you can then write into your characters instead of like my character sat on a horse. You can experience it and you can write about it a lot more. What are some things that you guys do that helps you kind of experience the things that you're writing about, or helps you to generate new ideas as far as going out and living a life? Is that your hand? Or are you brushing your hair? Thinking. Okay, I'll come back to you. Yes? Yeah. Great idea. Because that's true. How often are sometimes the characters you read in your book like just another character that you're reading in a book? Go to a mental facility. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't tell your mom. The lady at the boot camp told me that I had to go to the insane asylum. All right. What's another idea? So write about the things that you know a lot about, that you're experiencing. That's great. Thank you. Right up here. So you're kind of in a video game, a first-person video game, right? Kind of experiencing it as you go. That's great. Okay, you figured it out now. All right. Cool. So that's awesome. So if your character has a specific characteristic, maybe go surround yourself with those type of people, or go somewhere where you would find people that would be like them. That's awesome. We'll take 2 more. In the back. That's great. So she said she's going to dress like her character dressed. Try to reenact a little bit the way her character would act. Good. Good. So interviewing someone else, talk to someone else, because we don't want our characters to all be like us, right? And that's half the fun of writing, is trying to write someone different, maybe someone maybe you'd like to be. Very cool. Good ideas, guys. You guys came up with great ideas that I didn't even come up with. That's awesome. Okay. A terrific writer finds their sweet spot. I had a lot of fun researching this. Most authors who've been dedicated to writing, write for a long time, will tell you that they have a certain type of writing environment that they work best in. And it's going to be completely 100% unique to you and the way that you write, to find the thing that works best for you to help you write. So I interviewed some of our authors via Facebook. So first, you have to find out what gets you in the mood to write. And I'm not talking about inspiration and ideas. I'm talking about okay, my goal was to write a chapter today. I got to sit down and write a chapter, but I don't want to because I got to do this and this and this. So what's going to get you in the mood to write? Jen Johansson, she's actually an author. She's going to be here at our book signing. She's not teaching this year, but she taught last year. She likes to sit down and grab a book and read a scene that's in the same mood she's currently writing about. Sometimes right before she'll write, she'll do something, she called it mind-numbing, like working out or cleaning, where she can just do something but be thinking about it the whole time. Renee Collins, she's awesome. She likes to listen to good music to put me in the mood for whatever scene I'm writing. Film scores are excellent for this because they usually packed with emotion. We talked about that. You can find sad, dramatic, scary, happy, or epic music on command. Scott Savage says he likes to listen to ocean sounds. Whales, maybe? I don't know. I love this, though. My main thing is that I always start by reading what I wrote the day before. So before he starts to write, he always goes and reads the last couple pages that he finished on, and he never stops writing at the end of a chapter, which is awesome because sometimes we get excited to write the scene, and we write it, and we write it, and we wrap it up, and it's so cool, and then the next day we're like, oh, it's kind of this new scene I have to start. So if you stop in the middle of a scene, then it's kind of like turning that next chapter when we read and we have to read on. So it's going to make you more excited to sit down and finish up that scene because you left yourself on kind of a cliffhanger. Me, okay, my friend, I like to go for a drive, and I like to talk out loud to myself a little bit, and sometimes I pretend like I'm on the phone. I'm embarrassed that this is being filmed. And I will talk out loud about my characters. Okay, what do they have to do? How do I resolve this situation? How is she going to act? And I'll pull up to someone, and they'll look like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, it's my friend. Hold on, don't look at me. And I will kind of talk to my phone, just make sure I didn't butt dial someone and I'm actually talking to someone. But it helps me talk out loud, helps me kind of clear my head and get ready. I gotta keep an eye on my time. Okay, then you have to find out where the best place to write is. There's a lot of really funny ones, especially from old classic authors. Truman Capote had to be laying down. He was called the horizontal writer. He laid in bed all day long and had to write laying flat. But then Vladimir Nabokov, had to be standing up, and he couldn't sit down, and he wrote everything on index cards. And he said he had like one novel that took like 3,000 plus index cards. Philip Roth had to walk all the time while he writes. I didn't quite get it. I think he would like write and then go like paste the block and then write some more and paste the block. And he would say like he would write a really intense scene and walk like 3 miles. Dan Brown, he has to put an hourglass on his desk, and every hour he gets up and he does some push-ups and some stretches to kind of get him there. J.K. Rowling likes to write in cafes. There's a lot of authors that would do this, that would go somewhere else to write. Maybe going to like a restaurant or like the mall and just sitting down and writing. For some reason, it helps a lot of people to actually kind of have the noise around them and the other stuff. A lot of authors, we probably couldn't do this. Like some authors either paid for a motel room by the month and would leave. They had like an 8 to 5 job and they're going to go to work, and they would leave and go to their hotel room and come back at 5 and just sit in their hotel room and write all day. So then you have to find out what's going to keep you there. I don't know, you guys are probably cooler than me, but how often has it happened to you that you're like writing and you're kind of stuck, and so you're like, I'm going to go do this for a second, or I'm going to hop on Facebook. Does that happen to anybody? And you find yourself like, I just checked Facebook 3 minutes ago. I don't need to check it again. So what's going to keep you there? What's going to keep you focused while you're writing? Jonathan Ryan, one of our authors, he has to go to a cafe and he has to listen to music. Radiohead, Stevens, I don't know what that says. You guys are cooler than me. And Rage, he has to listen to his music in his earphones. Renee Collins says, I keep a tall glass of Dr. Pepper nearby. There has been scientific research proving its inspirational properties. True story. Frank Cole has to be wearing warm socks, preferably wool, and it has to be in the dark in the room. If it's not dark, then I have to have no sounds whatsoever. No joke. Socks plus darkness equals magic. Socks, if you've ever thought about putting socks on your feet. I know, he's pretty smart. Jennifer Jenkins has to have it quiet. She has to have a tall glass of water nearby and a snack, like some nuts or something. Otherwise, she's like, I'll just get up and go to the kitchen and eat. So we'll take a second. I want to hear from you. What are some things that, I either want to hear, what are some things that help you? You know what, we talked a lot about some things that get us in the mood. What are some things that you guys need to have in your writing environment? Some places you've got to be, do you have to be sitting? Do you have to be outside? And what are some things that help you just stay and focus? Right here. Oh my gosh, Dan Brown does that. He hangs himself by like boots or something. So what does the upside down do? Oh, cool. I'm going to do that. All right, right here.
I have to be in my bed with the window open.
With the window open. Nice. In your room with the window open. Okay, right here. Okay, good. Yeah, some authors were like, I can't eat breakfast until I wrote, and so I'll eat breakfast at 3 p.m. All right, striped shirt. You. Yep, you're wearing stripes today. No TV. Good. I can't write with the TV on, but I know authors that have to have it on. No TV in the living room. Good. All right, red shirt.
I do my best writing after I've done that.
After you've done math. That's interesting. Maybe it's like you hate math and then you finally just get to let loose and be creative. That's awesome. In my TABC shirt right there. A what? Food. Oh, you gotta have some snacks, right? It's me. I'm like Jennifer. I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. My poor girl on the floor. I'm sorry. Oh, color on your lights? The scenes fit the music. Who has like playlists for their scenes and for their books? Do we do that sometimes? Helps you get in the mood? Awesome. Okay. Okay, the important thing here is sometimes we can't be too picky, right? We can't always have the perfect thing. So E.B. White says, a writer who waits for ideal conditions under which to work will die without putting words on paper. So it's true. Sometimes you've just got to deal with whatever's around you and just be able to write. I actually write really well, like on airplanes. Like I love it when I fly on an airplane. I'm going to get so much writing done, or on trains or in the car, stuff like that. I get a lot done. Camping. I write while I camp. Okay. A smart writer knows the correct way to write. All right, so grammar, structure, You got it probably from my research. I'm like, boo, I don't wanna. But if you're gonna be a real writer, you're gonna be taken seriously, you have to learn how to write correctly. It's just a fact. And I'm a big hypocrite. My group really constantly makes fun of me. They actually have jokes about some of my grammar errors. They sometimes call it comma confetti, like, all right, Tasha, you just threw some commas in there. Hopefully they land. Let's fix them all. Okay, a great writer is constantly learning their craft. Where'd they go? Sorry, I lost myself. No matter who you are, no matter if you're like the best writer in the whole world and you've made like a quadrillion, gazillion dollars on selling your books, you can always learn something new. That's kind of the cool part about writing. You're never, ever, ever perfect. You're never the best at it. There's always a new, fresh way to think about something, a new way to craft a character, a new way to solve a plot. And that's kind of the point of the writing industry, is we're always looking for something new. We're always looking for something fresh, a twist on something. No one wants the same old stuff, right? So you can do that in a lot of ways. Again, the internet's fantastic for that. There's a lot of options for you there. There's a lot of books. This series is called, the little top black thing says Write Great Fiction, and it's a whole series. They have description and setting, revision and self-editing, plot and structure, dialogue, characters, emotion, and viewpoint. So you can kind of pick up a book that's really specific. There's other ways you can learn is like by attending, really cool conferences that are like awesome. All of you are here, which means all of you are already great writers because you're learning your craft and you're working on it. Last one, a real writer writes. Duh. That's the point here, is that all of these things aside, and kind of like James Dashner said in his opening, every time you write, you're going to be a better writer every single time. And if you really want to be a writer, it's not like, oh, I wrote a little bit a couple months ago. It's you write. Stephen King said he wrote 10 pages a day, and he did not care how sucky or crappy those pages were. He wrote 10 pages a day. So just think about what's your goal. Maybe it's hours that you spend writing. Maybe it's word count. Maybe it's just, I got to get this book done by this certain time. Maybe it's just a chapter a week. Whatever it may be, just write. And that's the best thing that you're going to do. One thing I also learned when I was researching is you don't have to start out writing like the great American novel. Most really big authors started out writing journals, or writing newspaper articles, or writing blogs, or writing poetry, or writing short stories. And each one of those things built them up to be able to write this big novel. So even if you don't want to start writing a humongous, massive novel yet, just write something. All right, guys, you guys have been fantastic. I hope we've learned something today. Please feel free to come up and take some candy. I should have thrown it out while we were doing, but we didn't. Continue to have a great day.